Troy star Orlando Bloom candidly reflects on his experience filming the 2004 film. Directed by Wolfgang Petersen, Troy chronicles the infamous sacking of the titular city by the Greeks in 1250 BCE. The film, which stars Brad Pitt, Diane Kruger, Brian Cox, Eric Bana, and Sean Bean, features Bloom in the role of Paris, the Prince of Troy and younger brother to Bana's Hector. In a recent interview for Variety's Know Their Lines video series, Bloom struggles to identify one of his character's lines from Troy, ultimately revealing that he doesn't look back at his time in the movie fondly. According to the actor, he just couldn't relate to the character he was playing. Check out Bloom's full comment below. Orlando Bloom's Troy comments explained. Paris isn't the ideal movie star role. Eric Bana and Orlando Bloom charge ahead in battle in Troy. Paris is far from a typical hero character in a historical epic. He has the physical attributes of a hero, but he is ultimately a character with a great deal of weakness. Throughout the film, Paris is naive and impulsive, and, as Bloom explains, there's one scene in which he crawls away from what is supposed to be a one-on-one duel to the death in order to cower at Hector's feet. Paris is also essentially responsible for the Trojan War with his kidnapping of Helen in a bold act of love. While some actors would revel in the opportunity to play such a flawed character, Bloom was clearly being positioned as a strong leading man in the early 2000s. He rose to fame with his role as Legolas in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and, just before Troy, he also played Will Turner in the first Pirates of the Caribbean. Both Legolas and Turner are strong, traditional Hollywood heroes, and they set the actor up for these types of roles moving forward. Paris is perhaps an example of why some big Hollywood actors are reported to have clauses in their contracts preventing them from losing a fight. Paris may end up getting a hero moment at the end of Troy when he kills Achilles, but the character is probably best remembered for all of his moments of weakness and his poor decisions. For an actor like Bloom during the early 2000s, the role is really the opposite of how he was being positioned in Hollywood. Was Troy worth the struggle for Orlando Bloom? The movie failed to make a lasting impact. While playing Paris in Troy may have been a challenge for Bloom and not a project he particularly enjoyed, it could certainly be worth it if the movie had a measurably positive impact on his career. The reviews for Troy, however, were mixed at best, with critics mostly agreeing there's little substance beneath all the movie's spectacle. As a result, the film currently has a lackluster score of 53% on Rotten Tomatoes. Despite a less-than-stellar reception, Troy was a box office hit. The movie grossed close to $500 million worldwide, with the spectacle and star power of figures like Pitt, Bana, and Bloom evidently a draw. Despite this, however, the movie hasn't really lived on in popular culture. Gladiator, for example, another sword and sandal type movie, made a little less than Troy at the box office, but it has clearly stood the test of time far more effectively and is looked back upon with more reverence.